E360 TV proudly presents messages of inspirational stories. Live streaming now to millions of devices, including Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, YouTube Live, Facebook Live, with your host, Donna Guinois, producer and host, Jim Grant, producer and host, along with Michaela Vidal, administrator and host, and Gaia Guinois Balconi Wada, editor-in-chief. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I shocked Emerson today. Usually I put him backstage when I open up the show, but today he was dressed so pretty, I just couldn't do that to him. You know what I mean?
I am not Donna, and I am not Michaela.
We're so glad.
I don't even play him on TV, folks.
There you go. There you go. We're so glad you tuned in today. Ladies and gentlemen, one of our causes here at the show is that we're very true to our veterans, and a cause is so important in life. As Emerson has shared a lot of information to me about a cause, because a cause attracts like-minded people, that because people want to know you, they want to like you, they want to trust you. They want to know that you're giving back something to make this world a better place, or at least, do your part in helping others. And that's critical in life. And Emerson, I know you've had, decades of experience in that. And, it's one of the things that you've really taught me over the years, and I really thank you, and I appreciate it, brother, very much.
Well, in working with companies all over the world in their marketing, a number of years back, it became really apparent to me, the ones that really mattered to me were the ones that made a difference in not just they sold more than anyone else or made more money than anyone else, but they made a difference, and they were willing to put themselves behind something bigger than themselves.
Sure. And in my particular case, being a Vietnam veteran, lifetime member of the VFW, and my son, who's also a veteran, he has served multiple tours of duty in Afghanistan, Iraq. And James was awarded the Bronze Star in 2017. In fact, you met him right after he came back.
Yes.
And
both of you were in the class that I did, yeah.
Yes, sir. We sure were. So our roots go back quite a ways, mine and Emerson, and we're just so honored, because being a part of the VFW and being able to give them special time on our show, this is part of our cause, and this is going to attract people that's attracted to us for who we are, because they know us, like us, and trust us, and that's critical in all walks of life. Your cause.
One of the things you and I have talked about, Jim, and it's and we live in a period of time where there's enormous, divisions, we'll say. But at the end of the day, people are people.
Oh yeah.
I don't have to agree with anything at all politically to recognize the humanity of the people that we've asked. We haven't just asked, they're required. When they join, they are required to go and serve.
Yes.
And to honor them for that integrity, for what they have done in this current environment more than any other time, is so important, because at the end of the day, we're people. At the end of the day, we're people, and we have the same frailties, we have the same demons, we have the same things that affect us, that challenge us, that help us succeed, and that hold us back. And for us to support people who have gone above and beyond anything that maybe we've ever had to face.
Oh yeah.
Out of duty and honor and integrity.
Yeah.
That's powerful. That is a high calling.
It really is. It's an honor to wear the uniform. And we have with us today a young lady, and we're so glad to have her join us. She's going to be putting on a state convention in Hawaii. So, she invited Emerson over there, and, did you know she invited you?
She invited me. Wow.
Yeah. Well, actually, I just invited you over there for her right now, live on
Oh,
TV.
well,
But anyway,
before you put her on, would you invite me and arrange for the check to cover it? Okay.
okay, yeah, yeah. I'll put the check in the mail there for you, Emerson.
Okay, I'll be checking.
You bet. But ladies and gentlemen, it's our pleasure to have Deborah Lewis, the commander of the
Yes.
Hawaii VFW.
Yes.
And let's welcome her to the stage and give you a chance, Emerson, to be able to meet this young lady.
Yes.
Aloha. Can you hear me?
Aloha. Yes, ma'am. We sure can. Welcome to the show.
How
Aloha,
wonderful to
Commander
reconnect
Lewis.
Jim and Emerson. Jim has just been talking so much about all the many talents that you have and how you have helped so many people.
Yes.
You know, everybody plays a part, and some people have that rock star capability, and apparently marketing is yours. And I can't wait to hear more. We're going to go offline later. I just love to hear some more stories. Jim started telling them, but and Jim, you're celebrating your 51st anniversary coming up.
Huh?
Yeah, and you know, my buddies and my family got together, and it brought tears to my eyes. They actually gave my wife a medal. Yeah, we've been married 51 years, and my commander in Vietnam, Captain Satter, he says, Jim, where'd all the years go to? I said, I don't have a clue. I ain't got them, you know. But it's amazing how time flies. And it's been.
Deb, I heard. What do I get at 100? A watch?
Yeah. That's a good question. Yeah, but really, it's important in life, and you know, to have someone like that who understands me and forgives me and overlooks my intelligent decisions. You gonna let that slide down? You gonna let me get by?
I'm not saying a word. You know, our loved ones, bless them. You know, you've been in the military, son of the military. You know, the thing is our loved ones just keep us strong. And sometimes
I'm so
not
grateful.
Always perfect. We're not.
I'm so grateful when I said that she didn't burst out laughing. But this is your show today. We're going to be talking about your upcoming state convention. But before we get into that, would you share a little bit to the folks out there who you are? Because I know your story, and this is really interesting. She answered the call of duty. Please go ahead and share it.
And I also got dressed up. Did you notice I'm wearing my cap for you?
Yeah.
And so I come from a line of military. My father served in the military. My grandfather was during World War I was enlisted in the military. My dad served, he started during World War II, enlisted as a young man in 1944, and then had a tiny break in service and went to West Point after that. He'd almost had his degree from University of New Hampshire, and then he went off to West Point for 4 years. And then served until 1985. It's just remarkable. And so I had that example to live by, and his life was not easy, definitely. He is Jewish, and, you know, there weren't too many Jewish generals, and he became a 3-star general. So I grew up moving around a lot. He signed up in World War II. He's a Korean War veteran where he graduated at West Point in 1950. Figure that time. That was right when we went to war in Korea, and he lost a number of his classmates in that. And then after his time there, though, he met my mom in Japan. My mom was there because her father was a naval sea captain and was running supplies during World War II. And they met, and thank goodness they married. Like you did 51 years ago, they just celebrated 70 years. Married.
Yeah, that's right. You were in Florida for that.
I was in Florida for that. And so I just had this wonderful example. Now, my mother is incredibly strong, independent. She grew up, born in Canada, grew up in Australia. Pretty much it was a handful, but she needed to be, as our family members need to be when our loved ones go off to war. And my dad went off to Korea twice. And he was also in Vietnam. And that was something that she understood was necessary, even though it was a very unpopular war. and having to hold down the home front and staying engaged. So I had great examples. I was allowed to do things. I had 2 older brothers, so that worked out well. And then my timing was they moved on me my senior year, and I ended up staying with a lady who had 2 sons at West Point. And that was the year they changed the law. So I was in the first class that went to West Point.
Yeah.
And anyone who's been on the front end of a social movement, a social revolution, knows that being on the pointy end of that spear is very uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
But necessary. It's necessary. Somebody has to do it. Yeah. And I won't say it was easy. My brother went to Naval Academy at the same time. He enjoyed himself at Johns Hopkins for a couple of years and then turned his life around and decided I'm going in the Navy. So we have an incredible competitive rivalry. It's fine. And then I, believe it or not, decided to stay another 30 years in the military. And that's because anyone who knows that, yes, it's hard. Yes, we sign up. Yes, we've lost friends, either directly through combat or we've lost them because of what they've been exposed to. And so, you know, it isn't an easy life, but when you face stressful things together, you get that unity of spirit and arm in arm, and we stay in touch. I mean, I just had a reunion, not a reunion, it was a convention for women conference up at West Point, and 25 of 52 or 62 women who graduated with me. We had 119 come in, 62 graduated. And then the final piece was, as I went through my career in the military, I kept getting more and more responsibility. I think people forget that the military usually is the leading edge of social change. And so I was given opportunities. I won't say the Army led the way. I think the Air Force led the way on that, right? Right? The Air Force, my mother said, you should have joined the Air Force.
Well, they had airplanes, that's why.
Yeah. But the Army gave me relationships, and that's where the Army is based. And we really learned a lot. And then it came to a forefront why I'm able to wear this cap is, like some veterans, we may go almost an entire career and we think, oh, we missed it. We didn't miss anything. You know, every military member who serves matters. And that's something during Veterans Day, we honor those who are serving now. And everyone's service matters. We don't know. It's the luck of the draw, the timing and everything. And those who went to war and came back have a lot of battle scars. For me, I was given the great honor of doing engineering during combat. And it's like life and fast forward. We had a $2.1 billion construction program.
Wow.
But in the meantime, they were changing out my people 15% every month.
Wow.
And it was 100% volunteer. It wasn't like a unit that you have that trained together, went together. My people came from all over the world. I had National Guard, I had reservists, I had over 125 civilians from Department of Defense. And then I had Iraqis that worked for me as well, over 125, plus a security detail. Talk about a city, but with all the parts moving. And, by the way, shooting all the time. There was, at that time, I came right after Samarra Mosque had been blown up. And then the surge happened. They didn't have any more people. And I was in the heart of I was all of Baghdad province and Al Anbar province. So veterans in the foreign wars, VFW, have to have served in combat. Now, some people think that Korea doesn't count, but it does. If you've done 3 days consecutive service in Korea, you do get hazard pay. You do put yourself in harm's way. And so we are welcoming those combat veterans to be part of our organization. And I'll tell you why it's important, if that's okay. There's 3 key reasons. We had that special with Marty Haggard, which I hope everybody gets a chance to watch. The stories, we have programs that literally save people's lives. We have, when donations come in, the funds go to help our veterans in desperate need.
Yes.
And then secondly, we have a legislative program. And that's where, when we as military, usually we ask for nothing. We don't want any help. Anyone who's had a military service member is like, nope, I'm going to do it myself. I got this. Well, the thing is, no, we don't always have it. The Vietnam veterans who came back were exposed to Agent Orange, many of them, almost every one of them. Yeah. And it's been over 50 years, and we still are struggling to get them the benefits that they earned, to be treated and recognize that they were exposed to something very toxic. Today, the issue are the fire pits. And in the timeliness of your broadcast, I can say the House passed the bill. It's called the Honor Our Pact Act. And the House has already passed it. On the 7th or 8th of June, it's now for the Senate to pass it. Now, being a member of a group that's 1 million members, that helps us have a voice. So membership ties into legislation because we need a voice. But that doesn't mean that every citizen can say, we want to protect our future generations and current generations. So every time we go to a harmful place, that we are treated appropriately and cared for when we return appropriately.
That's right.
So the 3 programs, membership, legislation, those are 3 areas. And then I can talk about the convention, because that's where we
exactly.
Let you take it.
I just want to share something very quickly. One of the reasons, too, that we do this show on the VFW, she mentioned my buddy Marty Haggard. He's a wonderful guy who was on that show for 2 hours. If you didn't get a chance to see the show and you don't know where it is, it's on our YouTube channel, but you can also email us here at inspiration@e360tv.com. We will actually send you the actual link so you can just point, click, and shoot on it.
Maybe we could put that on the marquee before the show's over, Jim.
Well, it's a big, long, all these numbers and stuff like Z, X, Y, 9, 4. It may be kind of hard. But anyway, one of the reasons why we like to do this show is because it also gets out there. It's another avenue that gets out what Deb is talking about, so that more and more people become aware of what's going on, what the veterans are doing, the VFW. And for you veterans out there that were like me, that bagged around, I got out, I spent 68 through 71, three years active, and I took a break in service, and I got back in 81. And they finally ran me off in 2004. They said I was getting too old and too ugly. But anyway, I've served a total of 31 years, and I did not join the VFW until about 2005 or 6. So, I mean, for you folks out there that's dragging your feet, that you're qualified, you should belong to the VFW, because, hey, who else can understand what you're going through, what you've been through? Who else even cares? A lot of people, don't even care. But that's my 2 cents on the soapbox, because we're here today to talk about Deb's convention. She, just very quickly, if you would, share how you became the commander of the state of Hawaii.
There was someone, Norbert Enos, who is our quartermaster. He's in his 80s. He manages our finances, and he told me, after I became commander of a local post on the island of Hawaii, which is where I live in Hilo, but my post is actually where the volcano erupted and destroyed 700 homes. I became the commander there, and I was the commander there for 3.5 years. And during that time, one of the programs for headquarters brought us funding when 700 people lost their homes. Over 100 veterans were affected. And so that's how first, it was leadership that brought me into the VFW at all. They wanted me to come in and thought that I could help. I didn't join it until late either. I mean, I didn't join it really until I arrived to this island. So Jim, you're not alone there. And then when this event happened, to have that, and also posts from all over the world sent us funds to help recover from that, to make sure that we could support our veterans. When it was coming aware, Norbert decided, you need to take a position in our state leadership. And I was lucky. I was not the first. Maria was our first woman commander for the state, and she lives in American Samoa. So I thought, I live on an outer island. I think I can make this work. So they put me in the chairs, and then you moved up the chairs. And so this year, 2021 and to 2022, I became the Hawaii state commander, along with a number of other women throughout the world, but especially our country, who are commanders in our states. And all of us have a year where we start off in July, and then we go forth, and then for the rest of the year to June, we command our state. Or in some cases, like the Pacific one, headed up by Kevin, his is 16,000 members, all Thailand and all those islands. They call that a unit. And then we also have Europe. So we are spread across the country, and all of us are holding our state or conventions like Pacific and Europe in June. And so ours is the 9th to the 11th in June. And this is where we meet and make the big decisions that affect us for the rest of the year. So it's important for people to participate. And I got to tell you, in Hawaii, it ain't cheap. We have to do it in a hotel. The hotel gave us the best deal, but that's why we need support. We need donors. We need sponsors, because for the meals and the others are to get people, members who may be of limited means, to go. It's so important that their voice gets heard, because this is where we're going to do training. This is where we're going to talk some big issues like the PAC Act and how that impacts us. And also, we have a service that we give veterans at no cost. We help them navigate the many, many steps so they can get the benefits they earned. And so that's why our convention is so vital.
I know that Emerson had some.
Go ahead. You also have a brilliant woman, Lynette Hernandez, in Florida, where I'm from.
Yes.
The state commander too. So more kudos there.
We have, yes, thank you. We have all our commanders. They can go look that up on the VFW. Go find your local state commander, see what help they need, because, and you have your local posts. People think that they have to do really big things, but the truth is very small things over time make a huge difference.
I'm looking here at your convention meeting agenda and functions. It starts on Thursday, June the 9th, which is 8 days from now, a little over just a week, you might as well say. And 3:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. is registration. And that Thursday night, just share with us what basically the visitors will be, or people who come to the convention, I'm trying to say.
Those who attend the convention, there's a way to sign up. We have to have numbers for attendees more than 48 hours out. So coming in, it's not something you can walk into. This is something that you have to notify and find out. And people from other states are coming in. Sponsors are always welcome to generously donate. And there's a way to do that. That's online as well, to notify our people. But that first day is we are gathering to make sure you have what's called quorum. We are a business, we're a nonprofit business, but you have to have enough people to be able to host the convention. So we're trying, we need to have participation from all the posts that we have and the senior leaders to be able to participate. And at that, the first kickoff is a gathering where we just, isn't it nice to get together to be able to share stories that we haven't. We are island. We're an island state. So it's not like I can drive. I can't drive over there. So it's really an important time that we do our introductions. We introduce who are distinguished guests who are attending, and we plan for the rest of the convention.
Emerson, I know you were going over the agenda there, and you were really impressed with how they're covering everything. Like on Friday morning, the official kickoff of it. That's June the 10th from 7:30 to 8:30, and also in the afternoon 2 to 4 is registration. But at 9 to 11:45, that's a department business session, call to order, opening ceremonies. And there's going to be a bunch of people speaking there. State Commander, I imagine that's going to be you, huh?
That's me.
That's you, huh?
That's
And
me doing
just
the opening
share
comment.
some of the information that you foresee that will be shared to the folks there, that so they kind of like have an idea on what's going to be going on at the convention there.
Well, we talked pretty much the same story we've discussed already there, Jim.
Mhm.
We're
Yeah.
trying to remind members
Mhm.
about how important it is to not just sign up for something.
Mhm.
We need action. We need
Right.
action. We
Right.
need engagement. We need new ideas. We have functions that we have to talk about the state of our organization, how we doing, especially since COVID hit us so very hard.
Oh, yeah.
Unable to gather. I mean, our own local post is how I can really talk about is we have bills to pay every month, and yet our fundraising was pretty much stopped. So we had to started doing things like a fish fry, but it was a drive-through instead of eating and enjoying each other's company.
Right.
But we had to have ways to raise money. So
Sure.
The first day of Friday is really kicking off that official business session so that each of the key positions that we have, and we are an organization that's been around for a long time. And so we have business and a lot of formal positions. So some might say, well, that's, okay. But it really is about talking about the things we've discussed.
Sure.
How do we make it alive? How do we make it vibrant? And
I never have attended at a convention at the state or national level. Emerson, I know that you have been to the national convention, and what was your experience? Of course, you've never been in the military, but I mean, just as a civilian there, what did you
I've
see?
attended two different national conventions and presented at both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And interfaced, in fact, in one of the programs that I was working on, signed up 2,600 of the posts right there on site at the convention. So I had a lot of really good interaction with not just the senior leaders nationally, but also with the people right on the floor. So
it's a big event. It's going to be in Kansas City in July.
Yeah,
we are thinking 15 to 22 July, and it's guaranteed that it's going to be exciting this year.
Yeah,
I have to say a funny story. The first one I went to, it was in Nashville, and then Vice President Cheney was the keynote for the event, and there were 19,000 in attendance. And they had two Secret Service people with hand wands trying to wand everybody. Everybody had shrapnel pins all over them or something. It took hours to fill the room.
That's true.
Oh my goodness!
Between shrapnel and our all our things.
Oh, everything, and the pins from all of the different. I myself have collected hundreds of the pins from different posts around, but wearing the vest and the pins and my gosh.
Did they pack a case of batteries with them for their warm?
But it is an amazing event, and it is a very energetic event.
Yeah,
and it's one where the people are very engaged.
Yeah,
which is I've promoted or produced or marketed or spoken at over 1,000 events over the years. To see the level of engagement of the people who are there. That was
and amazing. I think the recognition, right? I mean, the recognition of what is actually happening, because you don't always hear about it. We do have a magazine, we do have the internet, but I'll tell you, when you're in person, and as you know, Jim, with our last event, when you have someone tell you their personal story of change and impact, it just is so much more meaningful doing it that way.
And one of the families that I was working with, during that time was the surviving sons and daughter of Sergeant York from World War I. You mentioned your grandfather, I believe, was in World War I, and so that was an amazing relationship that I was able to develop during that same period of time that all played into it. But
Yeah.
the number of veterans at that time from World War II were, I want to say 5,000 a week, or maybe it was per month, but we were losing them at that time. And there was a really big push to begin to recognize that generation, and subsequent pushes for Korea, and on. It's like there's this lead time and lag time between the decisions to send people.
Oh yeah.
And the decision to recognize that the people who go are doing it out of honor and integrity, and because not just because they signed a line, they're doing it because they're doing it because that's what they're doing.
They took an oath.
And to recognize and honor that when they come home, that's where so often things kind of fall short.
Yeah.
It's easy to make those decisions, but it's up to us. It's up to us to be willing to say, no, wait a minute. These things were done. It doesn't have anything to do with any political or anything else. These things were done. These are people, and these are the people who were willing to stand on that line.
Sure. Now, also at the convention, I imagine there's all kind of booths there, because some of the functions I went to here in Texas, you veterans out there, there's a lot of information.
Oh,
there.
gosh, yes. Hundreds of
them. You owe it to yourself just to go there, because I've been to, appreciation days and everything over Fort Hood. And I mean to tell you, it blows me away at a small organization like that, just appreciation day. I think it's a retiree appreciation day, wrap, or whatever they call it. But anyway, it's amazing all the different booths and all the people that's associated with the military.
Resources.
Yeah, amen. And Deb, I know at your state convention, you're going to have a lot of great information booths and people there that can answer questions. And, there's just things that exist that I didn't even know anything about.
Well, we unfortunately in Hawaii are a little more restricted this year still. So we will have the information or get the information for those veterans. Yeah. But I wanted to tag on something Emerson said too, is that we're always looking for ways to acknowledge. Like when you look at the schedule, the evening events are dedicated to the award recognition. What's been going on for the year. And this has been another challenging year for us. And then the other thing that's going on is that in addition to recognize our living veterans, which is what we're trying, number one, to do, it's also the cleanup of trying to acknowledge. You've probably heard of the Congressional Gold Medal.
Yes.
We are just now, for example, rolling it out for the Filipino community who served in our military, were promised things and helped us with the success of World War II. The Japanese, the 442nd 100th Battalion, they received theirs. And I only know now one member who's still living. He's almost 100. Wow. And, we've lost just about all our World War II veterans. Yes. And now we're losing in massive numbers the rest of our Vietnam veterans, and Korean War veterans. They, those organizations. So remembering and acknowledging, the VFW has come up with a certification, for example, to honor those who died before they could be a member of the VFW. And we're using this as an opportunity, for example, to recognize our namesake for our local post, to put that up. So there's so many ideas to educate those who are living, to make sure they get the information they need, and training. We're going to be doing training in the afternoon because it's a lot of things to understand, in addition to how to be a service officer, how to make sure veterans get the benefits they earned and navigate the VA system, the Veterans of Affairs system. Those people take tests. It is intense training to make sure they understand the system and can help our veterans. And then the other areas, how do you get the word out today? what is able. We have a local new commander that's coming in, said, you know what, I think I'll set up in a market. We have these pop-up markets. You've been to the you have a market. How about I put a table out and start talking about the VFW? Well, that attracts people. So good ideas are always welcome. Always welcome.
And you were just here. You were just here in Florida, and they just had the first honor flight from Florida that was all women veterans.
Oh wow! I didn't realize that one. But my father's been on the honor flight. Yeah,
this was the first one.
Program.
And I don't know if it was the first one ever, but it was the first one from Florida. It was all women veterans going all the way back to the Korean War.
Wow.
And this is, sometimes it takes time. It shouldn't, but it does. But
well, it wasn't a level playing field, but we're working on that.
But they were serving. They were serving, and they were serving.
Yep.
To the extent of the capacity that they were given the opportunity to serve, and they would have served in more of a capacity had they been given more of an opportunity. But to honor them at this point, is
that's extraordinary. I'm so glad they've done that.
And there's so many women veterans today, women and minority veterans for that matter, but there's so many who just knowing that when they go in, Jim, you have the way that you say it. I'm going to let you talk about how it's different than.
We've been keeping you quiet, Jim. Yeah. We didn't do that intentionally.
Actually, I'm on break. I was listening to intelligent people talk. I was on break. Go ahead.
No, we're doing.
So, what do you want me to explain?
What is it? Yeah, it's not the old days when it was stale and how do you put it?
No.
It's not that anymore. It's about.
I got misquoted in the paper about.
Oh, did you? Well,
I was talking to one individual in a civic group that had a problem because when they attracted members, the young people coming in, they just mainly most of the members were just old boys there, and they just got together once a week just to just a good old coffee clatch. And I said, "Look at your members." I said, "Don't you see a problem?" He says, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "Well, you're 90% male. You're 90% pale, and you're 100% stale." And the last part of that was the only thing that made the paper. I bet the neighbors were loving that.
But the key is really, the VFW and organizations like yours, it's for all veterans. It's for everybody who served.
And you want to take a look at organizations like Hawaii. I guess we're leading the way because that's not an issue. And I don't think it is in California, and I don't think it is in other places.
No, you're
very, very diverse. And we are, because we are diverse, it is able to get this unique approaches that you probably wouldn't have heard about. Yeah. And if we don't make it real and meaningful for the newer generation, they won't participate.
Yeah.
And sometimes that requires them. We in our own groups, we're getting younger and younger members, which we are appreciative. And they've got fabulous ideas to help. And they really don't understand. I find they don't understand that when you leave the military, and I felt this way too. I didn't want to do anything more with the military. I was done, one and done. I'm done. I don't want to do it. And then I just kept getting roped into talking about the issue and understood that, gosh, my lens is very helpful here. And now I'm chair of the Veterans Day Parade, commander of the state VFW. I'm on the Veterans Advisory Committee. And here's someone who said, I'm not going to do that. But the truth is there is a huge void to being able to have a voice. And when you don't have a voice, people will fill in the blanks. And I'm telling you, it's not pretty. It is. They say, "Who are you? Are you special?" It's like, it's such disrespect. It feels that way, but you realize it's just ignorance. They don't understand what does that mean. And when they say, you have a whole medical system dedicated to veterans because we have these issues. We have been maimed. We have been exposed to stuff. We have mental challenges from the horrific things that have happened. Yeah. This is not normal in other places. Maybe in certain pieces, but by and large, we do need this treatment because we will be, like I said, the last people to ask for help.
Well, and right now in Honolulu, the issues of the military base there in Honolulu is finally starting to deal with. There are a lot of veterans who are affected by those old tanks and things that have been leaking into the groundwater for decades. And VFW is one of the ones that is able to bring that out and support the veterans who are being affected by it.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I feel this applies to the VFW, it also applies to civic groups, is that when you have young members come in, be prepared and have your older members become mentors to them.
Mentors, yes.
Mentors. That's very important because, remind them what it was like when they first came in or where they come from. You never forget where you came from. And it's so true what Deb was talking about because all of us veterans who have went through whatever we faced, we walk to the beat of a different drum on all fronts. I mean, it's just amazing how, something that may be important to my wife, I could care less. And I ain't talking about,
Did you really say that, Jim?
Yeah, I'm being honest. I mean, she's not home. You're not going to tell her, are you? I may not see 52 years. No, but I mean, things that, that might be important to her, it's not important to me. And that's on all fronts of my life because I'm more like, hey, just, let it go or something of this nature. And I'm not into doing any hard time or anything like that, even though if she sees this show, I'll probably be doing double hard time. But
well, but you're talking more from the standpoint of the perspective.
Yes.
Your career in the military versus someone else.
We certainly do have common things with tragedy, such as the loss of life, suicide.
Yeah.
Suicide is one of the ones. If you're not well adjusted and then you're exposed to all these things, then you may be more predisposed because we are losing veterans at a much higher percentage than others. But that doesn't mean that we don't have some common ground that we can work together. Most of the time when I'm working is I want to find out rather than rarely do I want to create a new system. But in the case of the military medical system, it had to happen. It still needs to be injected with all the efficiencies that you can obtain. But it has to be effective first. But the other piece is that as a part of the community, when we learn things, because a lot of times the military systems learns things well ahead of the civilian community, then being able to transfer that and benefit everyone so that we can not have to keep repeating these hard lessons. I think that is something that unless you're working with others and communicating, which I'm lucky on our island, we know all our representatives. We work with them on a regular basis because that's where change happens. It's the understanding and then the resourcing. And so this convention is one of those ways that the resources start to get targeted to say, okay, now how are we going to get through, not just get through, but handle the next year and take advantage of the opportunities. As we know, COVID's not going away. It's going to be there. And our population is more susceptible because we are older. I think we're at 99% of our age group has already been vaccinated, but set that aside, we're vulnerable. We have to take necessary precautions just like we did in combat. We don't go out there without our flak vest and without our helmet, and expect that good things are going to happen when bullets are flying or bombs and mortars are coming in. We have to do what's necessary and then find every moment of joy. Those relationships, the marriage that you've been able to hold, that stands as testimony that even in the darkest times, that when we honor our loved ones, we hold them close and we keep them engaged with what we're doing. We have members who bring their loved ones with them. They can be invited guests. And the other thing is with the VFW, if you didn't serve in combat, but maybe your father did or someone in your immediate family, you can be part of the auxiliary. The auxiliary is a powerful organization. And let's say, okay, you don't qualify for the VFW. There's American Legion out there. Our American Legion is out there and they are doing all the honor guards We have a member of our VFW. He plays taps. 500 funerals this year. 500 funerals.
Wow.
Okay. It's just remarkable. Can you play taps? Maybe you can go, I don't know what you can do to help, but I'll tell you what, every person listening has a gift.
Yes.
And so we hope that you won't keep it to yourself, that you will share it with those of us who are working on trying to make good things happen every day. And oh, by the way, there is a threat out there in the world. Conflict is the norm, not the exception.
Right.
You never know. Like 9/11, I was in the Pentagon when that happened. I know what it's like when a plane hits a huge building.
Wow.
I know what that feels like. I know what it's like to be in combat. I know what it's like to be around when there is a sniper in your community. And the ability to be able to leverage that understanding, that knowledge, and make sure we make better choices is something that we all can subscribe to, I think.
Oh, yeah, because being able to react properly without panicking. I mean, you're going to be scared. There's no doubt about that. But I mean, being able to know how to react is very, very critical.
Yes.
And that applies in all areas of life. I mean, when someone, if your loved one has a heart attack or something of this nature, there's just something about the military. It gives you a stronger anchor. It really does. And, being able to be associated with people who are fighting for your rights and, especially veterans, my goodness gracious, you owe it to them, to join and be a part of it and at least say thank you for your efforts for the people who are fighting the war for you that's still going on inside the canyons of your mind, because I'm a Vietnam veteran. I chose alcohol for about 10 years, and then I quit cold turkey January the 1st, 1981, and walked away from it and never missed it. But my point being is that there was no one there, for me. There was no one there. I didn't ask for help either. I just didn't. I just walked to the beat of my own drum. And Emerson, about 2 weeks after I quit drinking, Budweiser sent me a letter and they threatened to sue me because their stock dropped. Can you believe that? I mean, come on. Can't win for losing sometimes,
Well, they recovered, Jim. You don't need to feel any guilt about that any
Oh,
longer.
I never felt guilty about it.
You made me think of two things. Well, one is, yes, that people, if they are turning to something to self-medicate,
Yes,
that's certainly something a family member can pay attention to,
right.
And maybe encouraging them to go over and talk to people who have shared those kind of experiences, even though they might say, like I did, I don't want to go do that. And then you can be very creative to do that. I think the other thing that sometimes even military get frustrated is the fact that people really do not understand that freedom isn't free.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't have to get angry. See, this is the thing. I have never learned that survival mode thinking, which is fighting with someone or running away from them or just shutting down. I have never figured out that those strategies work in any scenario that I want to achieve something. And if we want to help others understand, then we must find ways to educate them without scolding them, and also to invite them, to welcome them. And that's what we try to do with our VFWs. We want to invite people to participate, find out more, to find out what's going on. And as Jim said so well before, hey, if you haven't joined it, just try it out. Even if you try it out for a year and say, okay,
just
is
1
this
year
working? And then, like any club, okay, how many others are there? We have 20 posts on our throughout the islands. There may be another one that you resonate with even better. Maybe it's closer to your home. Maybe it's, something, but chances are you have someone who wants to meet you and and you can help them as well. They can help you.
You bring your gifts and everybody brings their gifts.
And one thing you said there, I want to pick up on too, is that if you are a family member of a veteran and they are, using and abusing, alcohol or whatever, and you don't know where to turn, step out and get in touch with the VFW and say, hey, we got a problem, with a family member here, because they've got the experience. It's not going to be like, what? Are you kidding me? No, they'll understand immediately, and they have avenues and doors open. They will go the extra mile for you to help you in your hour of need. So just like the veteran, we don't need to feel alone. Neither do you in your hour of need, especially if your loved one is dealing with something and it's going down the wrong road as I took back in the 70s. So please take advantage of that. It's important.
And it's not a weakness. It's an act of strength. It is an absolute act of strength. Tears are strength because it's allowing you to feel those emotions that you have, and reaching out for someone to be there. They want to be there for you. They want to help you.
And I'll add this in as well. You have skills and talents. You have things that you've learned, things that you've acquired, things that you've had to acquire, things you were trained in. All of those things have value, and there are people at the post who have gone through that transitioning phase. If you're trying to go through it and just feel like you don't fit, it's not you. You have the talents and the skills, and there are people there who can help and guide you and mentor you and walk you through some of that transition struggle, so that you can find a way that you can be working, providing, serving, and continuing, and not be stuck with, wow, I spent this many years of my life and I was of this, or I was of that, or I was the other. Now what do I do? And so you can find those kinds of solutions. And there are people who've been there before you. They've walked those steps before. You don't have to carve a new path.
Yeah. There's one thing I'd like to add, because we're getting close to the end of the show. And if you're a sponsor out there and you'd love to help, and you'd love to, have an opportunity to be able to give back and also receive a hand up in return, Emerson's going to be working with Deb Lewis, and get with these two folks. Emerson's website is web3direct.com. Get in touch with Deb, because I know from experience, Emerson worked with the VFW on a project with American Forest and Walmart. And Emerson set it up to where Walmart got back their initial investment, and then they made money. And then thanks to Emerson, because they were so, doing such a wonderful thing, the VFW, he blew it out there, and they got free social media all over the place, free advertising.
Thousands,
yeah. So if interest to you,
very doable.
Yeah, because if you want to give back to the veterans, and, we understand money's tight. We understand that, but we also understand how important it is when we receive a hand up from you, we give you a hand up in return. That's the way we operate. So please feel free to reach out, and they'll be glad to help you and share with you and work with Emerson, because he's just a blessing to work for. Plus, he's a good-looking guy too.
I know.
Yeah, it's a cross he has to bear.
A sponsorship isn't just some donation.
Right.
It's not just some charity. This is a sponsorship, is a partnership. And with an organization like VFW, you have a partnership that is rich and in desiring and wanting to have that kind of relationship. And you have the ability, if you have a business corporation, you have the ability to partner with a international organization.
Yes.
And the appreciation, not just of the people within the organization, but of their families and of other people who aren't even involved, is extraordinary. You can become a sponsor at all sorts of different levels with the VFW, locally, nationally, internationally, on a state level.
Exactly.
But the thing is, find that purpose. If this is important to you, let that be a purpose that you put yourself behind. And I'll just add this, Jim. I said this so many times, and people have been viewers for a while and heard me say it before. This isn't about the business that sticks a barrel in their waiting room and says, bring in a can of beans and you get 10% off on Thursday or something like that. I'm speaking to businesses and companies that are behind and support the people who have served on the front lines, our veterans, and are willing
Amen.
to identify and say, this is part of who we are.
Mhm.
We support our veterans. We
Yeah.
support VFW.
Yeah.
Or the other organizations, but find one and then put yourself behind it, whole hog,
Mhm.
and the rewards come back to you.
Oh yeah.
They come back to you in so many. We have had more than one show, Jim, talking about the rewards come back to you in so many ways.
Oh gosh, yes.
This isn't put in $1, get $1. This is about
Mm-mm.
the
No.
rewards coming back to you in terms of appreciation and loyalty
Yeah.
and referrals and people who appreciate the fact that you're there and supporting them and that you're standing there.
Yeah.
That's what sponsorship is about.
Yeah. And the VFW has been there for,
They have-
100, this is 123rd National Convention coming up, and we're going to be working with them on getting them on for a full week for their national convention and get them covered there. But most importantly, remember this: if you're a sponsor and you're thinking, or you're a business owner thinking about sponsoring or doing a little bit for the VFW with us, veterans are loyal, because
Oh,
we
yeah.
know very well those that don't like us or don't care for us. They want us to go to war. We come back home, go get in your cubby hole, shut up. You got nothing coming. Okay. But people who reach out, like Marty Haggard, he is a strong advocate for the veterans. He was on that original 2-hour show. Those are the kind of people that you're going to be rubbing shoulders with, people that's like-minded. And the veterans are loyal to the business people who show them a little love. And that's important in life. It really is. Yeah.
And I, one of the things you remind me of, I'm an ambassador for the Women's Memorial.org, womensmemorial.org, and they're commemorating their 25th. It took a long time to get a memorial put together.
Yes.
What's important about that memorial is that it shares the stories. 3 million women have served, and apparently we only have like 300,000 who have signed up. And it's now electronic over COVID. They converted so that you can sign up remotely. I'm having groups that are making sure that if they've passed, you can still populate. You can become a member. Don't have to be a veteran to become a member, but then you can input the stories that need to be told about service. And if you can, then we can tell the stories of those who are living to make sure that we have that captured. We would hate to go and not have their stories captured.
Oh,
and so that's something we want to encourage as well. And I encourage my sisters in arms and my brothers in arms, come join me in the VFW. It's something that is up and coming in the leadership and everything, to try to make it relevant, supportive, and fun. It should be fun, right, Jim?
Oh yeah, like I say, it's very, very important, especially for us old non-vets. And I like to say it very simply: come home. It's supper time, and feed your needs, because you know what your needs are. You know where you're lacking, and you know that you can't talk to your neighbor, your dentist, or your barber about Vietnam, but you can talk to another non-vet or another vet that served in Iraq or Afghanistan. So come home. Feed your needs. Most importantly, try the VFW for just 1 year. Give them an honest look.
Give them a year.
Fair shake. Yeah. And oh my goodness, we're about out of time.
I know. Honored to be with you again, Jim, and certainly Emerson. I'm forward as well. Just a bright light you are, and you absolutely get how relationships have to be. If they're all one-sided, they never work. They never work.
Not at all. Not at all. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. And this show here will be also available on YouTube, and as well as the 2-hour show with Marty Haggard as our guest, as we interviewed several people from the VFW and covered a lot of the unmet needs program there, the membership program, and it was just amazing show. It's the kind of show that we like to put on every day, just like this show here of quality. But most importantly, as we like to close the show, we sincerely hope and pray that you and your loved ones are healthy, happy, and safe. And we hope that you will learn, number one, to love yourself first. Then you can love others. As my friend Donna likes to say, be sure and give yourself grace. Forgive yourself. And we'll see you tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow. Deb, thank you so much. Emerson, always a pleasure having you on the show. I got to salute that young lady back. And otherwise, I'll be doing push-ups behind the stage. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're out of time. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.